My father humiliated me at my graduation and accused me of stealing $10 kelvins in front of 100 guests. He disowned me and kicked me out. Months later, my evidence exposed the truth and left my family's empire in ruins. Hi, my name is Emily Harper, 18 years old, and if you asked me how I define myself, I would say I'm a coder, the kind of person who spends hours typing under the blue glow of a screen, dreaming of algorithms that could change the world. But in my family, I'm nothing more than a faint shadow, a dim flicker in the blinding light of my younger brother, Liam. He's 16, a basketball star with a smile that could melt an auditorium. And me? I'm the daughter whose name my parents seem to forget whenever guests come over. We live in a luxurious penthouse overlooking Puget Sound in Seattle, where the waves shimmer and reflect the city lights each night. My house feels like a theater stage, carefully orchestrated by my mother, Catherine Harper. She's a brilliant event planner who always knows how to make everything look perfect in front of the camera. My father, Robert Harper, is the CEO of Harper Tech, an artificial intelligence company soaring through the tech world like a rocket. Harper Tech isn't just a company, it's pride, it's legacy, it's the family's sacred symbol, mentioned at every dinner table as if it were their third child. I grew up surrounded by endless praise for my brother, Liam. Every time he scored in a basketball game, the entire family clapped as though he had just invented electricity. I used to think that if I tried harder, won more awards, maybe my parents would finally look at me the way they looked at him. I spent countless nights in my room writing code, submitting projects, and dreaming of the day I'd stand before them and finally be seen. But every time I brought home a trophy or a letter of recognition, they only gave me a polite smile before shifting the conversation back to Liam. I remember it vividly, a dinner at a high-end restaurant in Pike Place Market that felt like a carefully choreographed performance. Warm golden lights bathed the tables draped in silk, and the faint sound of waves from Puget Sound drifted through the windows. My father, Robert, sat at the head of the table, wearing that refined smile he reserved for Harper Tech's business partners, as if he were hosting a summit. My mother, Catherine, in a shimmering sequin dress, kept straightening napkins to ensure every detail was flawless. Liam, in his crisply ironed shirt, sat beside her, recounting his school speech from the day before. The whole auditorium stood up and applauded, he boasted, eyes gleaming. My father nodded, patting Liam on the shoulder. Well done, son. That's the leadership spirit of Harper Tech. I sat across from them, forcing a smile while my chest felt heavy. Just a week earlier, I had completed an AI research project that analyzed speech patterns to assist the visually impaired. It had been selected for presentation at my school's upcoming technology conference. I took a breath, gathering my courage. Mom, I was invited to present my AI project at the STEM conference next week, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. My mother glanced at me, her smile fading slightly. That's nice, Emily, but you're still young. Take your time, no need to rush. Her words cut like a soft blade, painless at first, but leaving a mark that wouldn't fade. My father didn't even look up, continuing his conversation with Liam about basketball strategies. I tightened my grip on my glass, that familiar feeling of invisibility rising again. It wasn't the first time my mother brushed me aside, but this time, I saw it clearly. It wasn't carelessness, it was intentional. They wanted to keep me out of Liam's spotlight, as if I were a mistake they needed to hide. That night, back home, I opened my laptop and typed into my journal with trembling fingers. What am I worth in their eyes? Am I only here to make Liam look brighter? The questions dug deep, tightening something inside my chest. The next day at the STEM club, I told my best friend, Maya, about it. Maya, a Vietnamese girl with jet black hair and a radiant smile, always knew how to make me laugh. You're a genius, Emily, she said, tapping my shoulder. Your family might not see it, but I do. Don't let them define you. Her words were like a cool breeze over an old burn, soothing something I hadn't realized still hurt. For the first time, I wondered if I could find my own worth without needing my parents to see it. A week before graduation, I stood in front of the mirror in my bedroom, reciting my speech for the 10th time. The The Seattle Central Hall, where the ceremony would take place, was a breathtaking venue with towering glass ceilings and shimmering lights. My speech was about my dream of developing AI technology to help people with disabilities communicate more easily, a project I had poured 2 years of sweat and sleepless nights into. I pictured my parents, Robert and Catherine, sitting in the front row, finally looking at me with the same pride they always reserved for Liam. That fragile hope made my heart race. But reality quickly pulled me back. The night before, during dinner, my mother had spoken only about the post-graduation party at a luxury hotel near Lake Union. "We'll be inviting Harper Tech's top investors," she said excitedly, her eyes glowing as she discussed the menu and guest list. "This is the perfect opportunity to strengthen the family brand." My father nodded and added, "Liam will give a short welcoming speech, like always. He knows how to energize a crowd." No one mentioned my speech, even though I had told them about it a month earlier. I bit my lip, swallowing that familiar sting of being overlooked, and told myself that the ceremony would change everything. The next morning at the STEM club, I shared my speech with Maya. She sat cross-legged on the floor, listening intently to every word. "Emily, this is incredible," she exclaimed, clapping her hands. "You're going to leave the whole auditorium speechless. Your parents would have to be blind not to see your talent." I smiled, but anxiety still pressed against my chest. "I just want them to look at me just once the way they look at Liam." Maya took my hand, her voice steady. "They'll see it, or they'll regret it. You're the real star, Emily." And Arca. I spent the entire week fine-tuning every sentence, every word, imagining the moment I'd step onto the stage, the spotlight shining down on me. I pictured my father smiling, my mother nodding, and Liam just once acknowledging that I had done something worthy. It was my chance to prove that I wasn't just my brother's shadow, but someone with purpose, with dreams. Yet deep down, a small voice whispered that my family didn't care about me, they cared about Harper Tech's image. I pushed the thought away, clutching my speech, and promised myself that I would make them remember me. That day, the Seattle Central Hall gleamed under the crystal chandeliers, the glass ceiling reflecting the golden glow of the afternoon sundae. 100 guests, teachers, friends, and powerful figures from the tech world filled the rows of red velvet seats. I stood at the podium, my heart pounding in my chest. The deep blue graduation gown wrapped around my shoulders, but my eyes searched for the front row, where my parents, Robert and Catherine, sat beside Liam. As my speech reached its final words about the dream of using AI to help people with disabilities communicate, my voice echoed across the hall. The sound of applause erupted around me, and I smiled, feeling for the first time that I was truly seen. Maya, sitting halfway down the aisle, gave me a thumbs up, her eyes saying what words didn't need to. "You did it." I stepped down from the stage, hoping to catch a proud glance from my parents, but my mother only offered a polite smile while my father checked his watch. Liam, dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, leaned toward my mother and whispered something that made her nod. I told myself it was fine, the reception afterward would be my real chance to be acknowledged. But as the MC announced the start of the celebration, my father suddenly stood up and walked stiffly onto the stage. "May I have everyone's attention for a moment," he said, his voice deep and cold as it echoed through the microphone. "Before we begin the party, there's a truth we need to address." The crowd fell silent, all eyes turning toward him. My stomach tightened, a dark premonition crept over me. Robert lifted a sheet of paper, his sharp gaze fixed on me. "Emily, come up here." I froze, my legs suddenly heavy as stone. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Maya looked at me from her seat, shaking her head anxiously. I took a deep breath and forced myself to walk toward the stage, feeling dozens of eyes follow every step. My mother stood beside my father, holding one of my handbags, the same one I had left in the dressing room that morning. Liam stood just behind her, his eyes lowered, as if fighting back tears. "We're truly sorry to have to do this on such a special day," my mother began, her voice trembling with practiced emotion. "But the Harper family has always valued honesty above all else. She opened my handbag and pulled out a stack of printed receipts and an email. Emily stole $10,000 from Harper's corporate account. Here's the proof: purchase confirmations and receipts for luxury items. The crowd gasped, a wave of whispers spreading like wildfire. I shook my head, my mouth dry. No, I didn't, I said, my voice cracking, but the microphone didn't catch it. Liam stepped forward, eyes glistening with what looked like tears, and met my gaze. I didn't want to say this, but I saw you use Mom's company account on her laptop, he said, his voice trembling. But I could tell it was an act. His eyes were too calm, too deliberate to belong to someone in pain. My father gave a slight nod to the security guard nearby. Check her bag, he ordered. The guard, his face expressionless, approached and began searching my purse in front of everyone. He pulled out another receipt identical to the one in my mother's hand, as if it had been planted there. I remembered clearly. That morning, my mother had insisted I take this very bag, saying it matched the occasion. The room erupted. Phones lifted into the air, flashes flickering like lightning. A classmate whispered, "Did she really do it?" One of Harper's investors shook his head, disappointment etched across his face. I looked at my father, praying for even a flicker of doubt, but his voice was cold, metallic. "Emily, you've disgraced this family. From this moment on, you are no longer a Harper. No scholarship, no college fund, no place in our home." His words cut through me like blades. My mother turned away, wrapping her arms around Liam as if he were the victim. Liam lowered his head, but I saw it, the faint curve of his lips. A hidden smile. The security guard grabbed my arm and led me toward the back exit. Applause erupted inside as the celebration resumed, as if I had never existed. Seattle rain poured down like a gray curtain, soaking through my graduation gown as I stood outside the hall. Inside, laughter and music filled the air, echoing faintly through the glass doors like the sound of a world I no longer belonged to. My phone buzzed nonstop in my hand, the screen lighting up with dozens of notifications. The video of me being escorted out by security had already spread across Instagram and Twitter, tagged with hashtags like #HarperThief and cruel comments. Can't believe Emily would do something like that. I opened my email and my heart froze at the subject line from MIT. "Your scholarship is under review due to recent allegations." Everything I had built, my college dream, my reputation, my future, collapsed in minutes. I wrapped my arms around myself, tears blending with the rain, feeling the weight of the entire world turning its back on me. My family, the people who were supposed to protect me, had turned me into a villain just to preserve their perfect image. My father, my mother, Liam, they had played their parts flawlessly, and I was the fool left standing in the ruins. My mind spun, desperate for an explanation, but all I found was pain and betrayal. What had I done to deserve this? Suddenly, headlights cut through the rain. Maya stepped out of her old Honda, rushing toward me before wrapping her arms around me tightly. "Emily, are you okay? Get in the car, it's freezing." Her voice trembled with worry, but the warmth in her embrace steadied me. I shook my head, my voice cracking. "I don't know what to do, Maya. They took everything from me." She squeezed my hand and pulled me into the passenger seat. "You're staying with me, no arguments, you're not alone in this." Maya's small apartment in Capitol Hill had barely enough room for a cramped living area. She handed me a towel and pressed me down onto the sofa. "Tell me everything," she said, her eyes bright with determination. I told her about the scene on stage, the accusations from my father, the fake tears in Liam's eyes, the way my mother displayed her so-called evidence like a theater actress. Each word felt like it tore something open inside me. "I've lost everything, Maya, my family, my scholarship, my reputation." Maya held my hand firmly, her voice steady. "You haven't lost everything. You still have me. You still have your talent. They want you to believe you're a failure, but I know you're stronger than that." Her words were a spark of light in the dark, but inside, I still felt hollow. The next morning, I woke up on the old sofa in Maya's tiny apartment, the scent of Vietnamese drip coffee drifting through the air. The muted Seattle light filtered through the curtains, falling on the pile of borrowed clothes beside me, since I hadn't brought anything except my rain-soaked graduation gown that night. It had been 3 weeks since my father disowned me in front of 100 guests, turning me into a thief in the eyes of the world. I still wasn't used to the emptiness. It felt like I was a corrupted line of code, erased from the Harper family system. Maya, wearing an oversized hoodie, handed me a cup of coffee. "Feeling any better?" she asked, her voice gentle, her eyes filled with concern but never prying. I shook my head, clutching the warm cup between my hands. "I don't know, Maya. It all feels like a nightmare I can't wake up from." She nodded, not pushing for more, then pulled me to my feet. "You start your new job today. Come on, no giving up." The new job was at a tiny laptop repair shop squeezed between a laundromat and a faux restaurant. The owner, a kind middle-aged man named Dave, hired me part-time to clean motherboards, replace phone screens, and fix charging cables for minimum wage. The work was repetitive, but it helped me pay my share of rent to Maya and kept my mind busy. But the rumors didn't leave me alone. My mother, Catherine, had spread the story that I had fallen in with the wrong crowd and was now recovering somewhere out of town. One morning, as I examined a broken MacBook, a customer, someone who had apparently met my mother at a charity gala, stared at me. "You're the Harper girl, right? I heard you got into some big trouble." I bit my lip and pretended not to hear, though my heart clenched painfully in my chest. At school, things were even worse. My old friends, the ones who used to build robots with me on the STEM team, now avoided me like I carried a disease. One afternoon, I opened the team's group chat and saw a message. "Emily's no longer part of the group. We need a professional image." No explanation, no goodbye, just deletion. That night, I opened Instagram and saw Liam's latest post. A photo of him in his basketball uniform, beaming beside my parents. The caption read, "Family is everything, grateful for those who stand by me. Number family first." The comments poured in, "You're so strong, Liam." And, "It's sad when family betrays you." I closed my laptop, my eyes burning. Liam hadn't just moved on as if nothing had happened, he had turned me into the villain to perfect his image. I opened the journal app on my phone and typed with trembling fingers. They didn't just throw me out, they took away my identity. I spent my whole life trying to make them proud, but they never really saw me. Am I truly worthless? Those questions burrowed deep, unearthing years of desperate effort to earn love that was never given. I realized my family wasn't just biased, they were toxic. They had shaped my self-doubt through every half-hearted nod, every subtle criticism. Every time I brought home an award, they called it luck. Every time Liam won a basketball game, they called it talent. The truth hurt, but it also awakened something inside me, a part that wanted to fight back. The next day at the repair shop, I met Jamal, an African-American programmer who worked part-time like I did. He was tall, warm-voiced, and could fix code bugs faster than anyone I'd ever seen. When Dave introduced us, Jamal greeted me with a friendly smile. "I heard you're the AI prodigy? My old STEM team used to talk about you." I blushed and shook my head. "Just a bit of luck, that's all." But Jamal wouldn't let me downplay it. "Don't sell yourself short. I read your research on AI for people with disabilities. It's brilliant." His words, simple, sincere, were something I had never once heard from my own family. That evening, Maya and Jamal sat with me on the sofa, eating pizza and talking about the future. Maya, full of her usual fiery energy, punched the air. "You can't let them win, Emily. They think they've destroyed you, but I swear you can turn this around." Jamal nodded, pushing his glasses up. "I don't know the whole story, but if you were framed, there has to be a way to prove it. You're a coder, right? Use that." Their words lit a spark inside me. I no longer had a home, a scholarship, or a family, but I had Maya and Jamal, people who believed in me. Sitting in that tiny apartment, surrounded by cold pizza crusts and the quiet hum of the city, I felt a new determination take root. They had taken my reputation, but I would take it back. Not to prove anything to them, but to prove it to myself. I opened my laptop, took a deep breath, and started to think. If Liam and my parents had staged this setup, there had to be traces. And I, a coder, knew how to find them. First, I checked the family's shared cloud account, the one I had created 2 years ago to store HarperTech's non-confidential data. It still used my email as the backup contact, a careless mistake on my mother's part, since she never bothered with technical details. My heart pounded as I logged in. Everything was still there: mirrored copies of company emails, security camera access logs, and transaction histories from HarperTech's corporate purchasing account. I didn't touch anything sensitive, only reviewed what I was legally allowed to access. This was just the first step. I started with the security cameras at the Harper penthouse. I had installed the system myself, 4 cameras that covered every angle of the entrance and living room. Logging into the family's cloud account, I searched for footage from the date of the alleged transactions, a Tuesday, the same day I'd been at school until late for the STEM club meeting. The outdoor camera footage loaded. Liam, wearing his basketball jersey, signing for 2 packages from a delivery driver at exactly 4:30 p.m. I checked the timestamp. It matched the time I had been presenting my AI project at school, with more than 10 witnesses, including Maya. I downloaded the video and saved it to a USB drive, feeling as if I had just uncovered the first missing piece of the puzzle. Next, I opened the company's internal email tracking system, a network I had helped my father design for HarperTech to monitor transactions. My mother's account, linked to the corporate card, contained a purchase confirmation email from a high-end gaming equipment store. Someone had ordered a $7,000 gaming PC and a $3,000 VR headset, the exact amount I'd been accused of stealing. But one detail made my heart stop. The email had been sent from Liam's laptop, logged in the system's device registry. I pulled up the access history. Liam had signed into my mother's account from the home computer at 3:15 p.m. while I was still on campus. To be certain, I cross-referenced it with my Google Maps location history on my phone. It showed I had been 10 miles away from home at that exact time. I dug deeper, searching for more clues. In a careless moment, Liam had left a clear digital footprint. I accessed his iCloud account not illegally, since I still had access from when I helped him set it up last year. In his iMessage conversations, I found a chat between Liam and a classmate named Jake. "Yo, I just copped the sickest gaming PC," Liam wrote, attaching a photo of the boxed equipment, the same box seen in the security footage. Jake replied, "Where'd you get the money for that? 7 kelvins isn't small change." Liam answered with a laughing emoji. "My parents' company account. Don't worry, I've got it handled." My heart pounded. This was more than evidence, this was a confession. I saved everything to a USB drive: the camera video, the purchase confirmation email, Liam's messages, and the device logs. But I knew I had to be careful. One wrong move could cost me everything. I contacted a youth support organization in Seattle that Maya recommended, and they arranged a meeting with a pro bono lawyer, Sarah Wynn. In her small office, piled with stacks of paperwork, I laid out the story and handed over the USB. "This is everything I have," I said, my voice shaking. "I didn't do anything wrong, but my family wants everyone to believe I'm the thief." Sarah, sharp-eyed but warm, reviewed the files. "This is strong evidence, Emily," she said. "Video, messages, and device logs all legal since you have access, but you need to prepare. Your family has money and influence. They won't give up easily." I nodded, fear mingling with resolve. "I don't want revenge," I said. "I just want the truth." Sarah smiled gently. "Then we'll do this the right way. Preserve everything and don't share anything publicly until we're ready." Back at Maya's apartment, I sat down and opened the journal app on my phone. I typed. They didn't just favor Liam, they were willing to destroy me to protect him. They chose the image of a perfect family over their own daughter. Writing those words made my hands tremble, but it also felt like release. For the first time, I saw the full extent of my family's toxicity. My parents hadn't just ignored me, they had built an entire narrative to shield Liam, no matter the cost to me. And Liam, with his fake smile and smug messages, wasn't the innocent little brother I once believed he was. He knew exactly what he was doing. Maya walked in carrying 2 cups of bubble tea, her grin mischievous. "You look like someone who just found buried treasure," she said. I told her about the video, the messages, and my meeting with Sarah. Maya cheered, punching the air. "I knew it. They're going to regret ever underestimating you." Jamal, who had just arrived, adjusted his glasses and nodded. "If you need to verify the data's authenticity, I can help. I know a guy on a cybersecurity team." Their support made me feel something I hadn't felt in months, like I wasn't alone anymore. But evidence alone wouldn't be enough. I needed a stage to reveal the truth. And Maya, with her social justice YouTube channel boasting over 10,000 followers, was the key. "We'll make a documentary," Maya declared, sitting cross-legged on the couch, her eyes gleaming with purpose. "We'll call it the Harper hoax. You've got the proof, I've got the audience. Together, we'll make sure the whole world knows the truth." I nodded, a mix of excitement and worry washing over me. "But if this video fails, I'll lose everything, Maya. They'll sue me, or worse." Maya squeezed my hand, her voice steady. "They tried to destroy you, Emily. This is your chance to take back what's yours." Jamal, sitting on a nearby stool, pushed his glasses up and added, "I know a guy on a cybersecurity team, Kevin. He can verify your data so no one doubts its authenticity." Their support made me feel like I had a small army at my back, even if it was just the 3 of us in a cramped apartment. We got to work that same night. Maya, with her video editing experience, sketched a rough script. "We need to tell a story," she said. "Not just the evidence, but your journey from betrayal to demanding justice." I agreed, and we spent hours organizing the proof. The security footage showed Liam signing for 2 packages while I was at school. His iMessage bragged to a friend about using my parents' company account to buy gaming gear. The fake email, sent from Liam's laptop, confirmed purchases totaling $10,000. Each piece was carefully saved, with timestamps and device logs to establish legitimacy. Jamal contacted Kevin, a security specialist who had worked for a Seattle startup. We met him at a cafe in Pioneer Square, where Kevin examined my USB drive. "This data is tight," he said, fingers moving quickly across his laptop. "The video metadata is intact, the messages are synced through iCloud, and the email logs match the timestamps. I'll produce a verification report to attach to the video." I breathed out, feeling a weight lift from my chest. Kevin refused any payment, saying only, "I hate bullies, take them down, girl." Our target was the upcoming Harper Technology Summit, scheduled 2 weeks later at the Seattle Convention Center. My father, Robert, was set to announce a multimillion-dollar government AI contract, a milestone that would cement Harper Tech's image as a family built on honesty and innovation. Maya squinted at her laptop, eyes glinting. "This is perfect timing. We'll drop the video right before the conference, when every eye is on Harper Tech. They won't have time to react." I nodded, though my heart was pounding. This wasn't just about justice anymore, it was war. We filmed the video in Maya's living room, using a green backdrop borrowed from the STEM club. I stood in front of the camera, my voice shaky at first but growing stronger. "My name is Emily Harper," I began. "And my family falsely accused me of stealing $10,000 to protect their image. But today, I have the truth." Maya handled the camera, cutting in footage from the security recordings, Liam's messages, and the fake emails. I recounted the day of graduation, the way my parents and Liam staged everything, how they threw me out like a stranger. "They thought I would stay silent," I said, locking eyes with the lens. "But I'm not the failure they wanted me to be." Meanwhile, Jamal and Kevin worked to make sure the video couldn't be taken down for any technical reason. They compressed the file, mirrored it across multiple servers, and prepared shorter versions for Twitter and Instagram. Maya added captions, timing, and visual highlights to emphasize each piece of evidence, shaping the video into a story that was both powerful and clear. "We're not just going after Harper Tech," Maya said. We're speaking to everyone who believes in justice. This video will spread. The night before the video went live, I lay on the sofa, staring at the city lights through the window. I opened my journal and typed, "I'm scared. If this video fails, I'll lose everything. But I can't live under the shadow of their lies. This is my chance to redefine who I am." Maya walked in and placed a hand on my shoulder. "You ready?" she asked softly. I nodded, though my stomach twisted. "Ready. But I need you with me." Maya smiled. "I'm not going anywhere." The next morning, Jamal arrived with Kevin, carrying the final verification report. We checked the video one last time, 5 minutes long, concise, sharp, and packed with irrefutable evidence. Maya uploaded it to YouTube with the title, "The Harper Hoax: How a Family Betrayed Their Own." She scheduled it to go live at 8 a.m. the next day, right before HarperTech's grand conference at the Seattle Convention Center. Jamal backed it up on Google Drive, just in case it got taken down. Kevin grinned. They won't even know what hit them until it's too late. When we finally pressed schedule, a current of adrenaline rushed through me. This wasn't just about exposing Liam or my parents, it was about reclaiming my name, my freedom, my worth. I looked at Maya and Jamal, the people who had become my real family. "Thank you," I said, my voice trembling. Maya hugged me tightly. "We're in this together, Emily. Let's show them who you really are." I nodded, heart pounding, ready for tomorrow, the day the truth would shatter the Harper family's perfect illusion. At dawn, as pale light filtered through the curtains of Maya's apartment, I curled up on the sofa, clutching my phone. The Harper hoax had gone live on YouTube at 8 a.m. sharp, just hours before the HarperTech conference opened at the Seattle Convention Center. Maya, Jamal, and I sat huddled around the laptop, eyes fixed on the screen as the view count climbed 100, then 1,000, then 5,000 within an hour. The comment section flooded. "Is this real? Did HarperTech really set her up? Emily, she was innocent all along." My heart pounded, a whirlwind of excitement and fear. This was the moment I had been waiting for, but also the point of no return. Maya screamed with excitement as the video hit 10,000 views. "It's going viral, Emily, look." She pulled up Twitter, where the hashtag #HarperHoax was trending across Seattle. A tech journalist from TechCrunch had retweeted the video with the caption, "Shocking allegations against the Harper family. If true, HarperTech could lose its biggest contract yet." Another reporter from GeekWire posted a short analysis, questioning HarperTech's transparency and ethics. Scrolling through the posts, I saw my own image, the one of me being escorted out of my graduation by security, replaced by screenshots from our video. Liam signing for the packages, his bragging messages, the fake email. The truth was spreading faster than I ever imagined. By noon, the fallout began to take shape. A source inside HarperTech leaked that the government's multi-million-dollar AI contract, the crown jewel my father, Robert, was set to announce, was now under review. Officials had requested clarification on ethical concerns involving the Harper family. HarperTech's valuation, though still privately held, started slipping in internal investor exchanges. Bloomberg reported that a major venture fund had withdrawn $20 million in committed capital. I received a text from an old STEM teammate. "Liam got suspended from the basketball team and student council this morning. The school's investigating." I didn't smile, but for the first time in months, a quiet sense of justice began to take root inside me. That evening, my mother, Catherine, posted a statement on HarperTech's official Instagram page. The photo showed her standing beside my father and Liam, all three wearing strained smiles, with a long caption. "Our family is under attack by lies from an individual seeking attention. HarperTech has always stood for integrity, and we will uncover the truth." The comments exploded into chaos. Some defended her, calling me a traitor, while others demanded she explain the evidence shown in my video. I read the post, my hands trembling with anger. Even now, they wouldn't stop. They still clung desperately to their perfect facade. I turned to Maya, my voice steady but cold. "They want to play the denial game? Fine, we'll release more proof." Maya nodded, her eyes flashing. Second video. Right now. We worked through the night, editing a shorter, sharper 3-minute video focused entirely on Liam's iMessage conversation. I appeared on screen, my tone calm but cutting. My mother called me a liar. But these are Liam's own words, his admission that he used the company account. We inserted the screenshots of Liam's chat with Jake, showing him bragging about the gaming PC and joking about handling the aftermath. Jamal added an authentication overlay from Kevin, displaying the message metadata to confirm no edits had been made. Maya uploaded it at midnight under the title, The Harper Hoax, Part 2, Liam's Confession. By morning, the second video exploded. It hit 50,000 views in just 4 hours and spread far beyond Seattle. Tech journalists began reaching out to me on Twitter, asking for interviews. Wired published an article calling it the family scandal shaking the tech industry. Investors continued to pull out, and a group of Harper Tech shareholders publicly demanded Robert's resignation. At school, Liam was shunned by his classmates. Some even reposted my video with the hashtag #JusticeForEmily. Then a message arrived from one of my former teachers. "I'm sorry I didn't believe you, Emily. You're incredibly brave." The words made me stop for a moment, my eyes stinging. For the first time, I didn't feel invisible anymore. The pressure was crushing. Every view, every headline felt like another blade slicing through the flawless image of the Harper family, and part of me still felt guilty. I opened my journal and typed, "I want justice, but am I destroying them? They were once my family." I thought about the days when my mother used to sing me lullabies, when my father taught me how to play chess. But then I remembered their cold eyes on that graduation stage, Liam's fake smile as they cast me out. They chose to protect him, not me. I typed again. "This isn't revenge, this is truth. And I deserve to live with it." Maya and Jamal sat with me, scrolling through the YouTube comments. "You're changing everything, Emily," Maya said, wrapping her arms around me. "They can't control you anymore." Jamal nodded. "They're panicking. You hit them where it hurts their reputation." I looked out the window at the Seattle lights flickering in the rain. Harper Tech's conference was undoubtedly in chaos, and I knew my parents wouldn't stay silent for long. But this time, I was ready. They had underestimated me, and now, they would pay the price. A week after the second video went viral, I received an email from my father, Robert. "Meet me at the Harper Tech office, 3 p.m. Friday. We need to talk." I agreed, but I didn't go alone. I brought Sarah Nguyen, my lawyer, and a small voice recorder hidden in my jacket pocket. The Harper Tech office, perched atop a glass tower in downtown Seattle, had once been the place I dreamed of working. Now it felt like a war zone. I stepped inside and saw my father seated behind his desk, my mother standing stiffly by the window, and Liam sitting in a chair, his eyes cast downward. "Emily," my father began, his voice low and strained, "you are destroying everything we built." I sat down, placed the recorder on the desk, and switched it on. "This is not a game, Dad. I have proof." I opened my laptop and laid out each piece, the security camera footage of Liam signing for the packages, his iMessage boasting to a friend, the fake emails sent from his laptop. Sarah added, "Everything has been verified by a cybersecurity expert." My mother, Catherine, went pale but tried to argue, "This is a misunderstanding, Emily. You're blowing this out of proportion." I stared at them, my voice cold. "I demand 3 things. Liam must confess publicly. My scholarship must be reinstated and my reputation restored. My parents must apologize publicly for falsely accusing me." Liam mumbled, "Sis, I'm sorry." But my father cut him off. "Enough. Do you want to ruin this company? Ruin this family?" I answered, "You ruined this family when you disowned me." My mother began to cry, but I felt nothing. They chose Liam, not me. They refused my demands, yet the public pressure was already taking its toll. Outside, reporters clustered in front of the Harper Tech building, and shareholders sent letters demanding emergency meetings. I stood and looked at them one last time. "I gave you a chance. Now everything rests with the courts and the public. Sarah nodded and pocketed the recorder. As I walked out, a rare patch of Seattle sunlight fell across my face. I was no longer the girl begging for recognition. I was Emily Harper, and I held the torch of truth. 2 weeks after the confrontation at Harper Tech's headquarters, the air in Seattle felt heavier, as if the whole city was holding its breath, waiting to see the fate of the Harper empire. The Harper hoax and its follow-up video had surpassed 200,000 views, spreading across tech forums and social media like wildfire. Journalists crowded in front of Harper Tech's gleaming glass tower, cameras trained on the once-proud logo that had symbolized innovation. But inside, the company was crumbling, and I, Emily Harper, sat in Maya's small apartment, watching it all unfold on my laptop screen. A GeekWire article that morning revealed something I hadn't anticipated. The investigation my videos had sparked had expanded into Harper Tech's financial activities. Federal investigators, spurred by public pressure, had begun digging through the company's books. They uncovered falsified invoices, offshore slush funds, and payments to non-existent contractors. These findings weren't directly tied to the false accusations against me, but they exposed something far bigger, the truth that Harper Tech, built on the illusion of honesty and innovation, was really a castle made of sand. My father, Robert, once praised as a visionary in technology, was now being labeled a fallen idol by shareholders furious over his mismanagement. By noon, Bloomberg reported that a major investment fund had forced Harper Tech to liquidate assets to cover mounting debts. A rival company, Nexus AI, had swooped in to acquire most of Harper Tech's intellectual property for a fraction of its former value, reducing what was once a billion-dollar empire to a fading name buried in another firm's portfolio. Robert lost control completely, ousted from his position as CEO during an emergency board meeting. I read the news and pictured him sitting alone in that empty office, staring out over Puget Sound, the same view he once pointed to with pride when he told me, "This is our empire." Now, that empire was nothing but fragments scattered in the wind. My mother, Catherine, didn't escape the storm either. The charity board she once chaired, the same organization where she had hosted glamorous galas to raise funds, announced her resignation. A tweet from a local nonprofit read, "We are committed to transparency and cannot remain affiliated with individuals under ethical scrutiny." I thought about my mother, the woman who once straightened every napkin to perfection, now being abandoned by the very people who used to praise her. A part of me wanted to feel vindicated, but instead, I felt empty. They had dug their own graves. I hadn't needed to lift a finger. Liam, my younger brother, faced his own reckoning. The juvenile court in Seattle, after reviewing the evidence from my videos, sentenced him to 100 hours of community service and ordered him to repay the $10,000. He was banned from extracurricular activities, stripped of his positions on both the basketball team and student council. One afternoon, as I was checking emails at the repair shop, a message from Liam appeared in my inbox. "Emily, I'm sorry, I never thought it would go this far. I just wanted to make Mom and Dad proud." I read it over and over, my hands trembling. Part of me wanted to reply, to shout that an apology couldn't erase what he had done. But instead, I closed the email and left it unanswered. I had spent my entire life trying to please my family, and now I was done. It was time to build something of my own. I opened the journal app on my phone and typed, "They've lost everything, the company, the reputation, the power. But I don't feel victorious. I just feel light, like I can finally breathe." The truth had done its work, not me. Harper Tech hadn't fallen because I wanted revenge. It had fallen because their lies could no longer stand. I was no longer the girl begging for my parents' approval or for Liam's acknowledgement. I was building a new version of myself, stronger, freer. Maya walked in carrying a pizza box. "Did you see the news? Harper Tech is officially done." She laughed, then looked at me softly. "You okay, Emily?" I nodded, giving her a small smile. "Yeah, I'm okay, I just want to move forward." Jamal came in right after, adjusting his glasses. "You did the impossible. You didn't just clear your name, you changed how people see your family." Their words made something warm stir inside me. They were my real family now, not the people who shared my last name. That night, I received a message from Sarah Nguyen, my lawyer. "The police are expanding the investigation. There may be criminal charges filed against your parents. Do you want to proceed with the civil case?" I looked out the window, the Seattle lights shimmering through the rain. I didn't want to drag them down any further, they had already done that to themselves. But I wanted justice. I wanted my name fully cleared. "Continue," I replied. "But I want to focus on the future." I opened my laptop and checked my inbox. An email from MIT. A new message read, "We have reviewed your case and are pleased to inform you that your scholarship has been reinstated. We look forward to welcoming you to MIT." Tears welled up, but this time they were tears of relief, of joy. I didn't need Harper Tech or my parents or Liam to define me anymore. I had Maya, Jamal, and a path ahead, a path I had built myself. Harper Tech had fallen, but I was standing tall, ready to step into a future no longer shadowed by the toxicity of my family. After the collapse of Harper Tech, that second email from MIT arrived, confirming my scholarship had been fully restored along with an official invitation to Cambridge. Sitting in Maya's small apartment, I read it as silent tears rolled down my cheeks. It wasn't just a ticket to college, it was proof that I wasn't the failure my family had made me believe I was. Maya hugged me tight, cheering, "You did it, Emily." Jamal smiled, pushing his glasses up. "Mitt knows they've got a star coming." I smiled back, but deep down, I knew my journey wasn't over. The scars of my family's betrayal were still there, even if they no longer defined me. I soon started working part-time at a small AI startup in Seattle called Soundwave, a company dedicated to developing speech analysis tools to help people with hearing impairments communicate more easily. Every line of code I wrote, every successful test, felt like another step toward healing. The work reminded me of why I fell in love with technology in the first place: to help others, not to please anyone else. The team at Soundwave, from senior engineers to interns like me, valued my ideas, listened to my input, and respected my work. For the first time, I felt truly seen, not as Liam's shadow, but as myself. I also began therapy through a youth support program that Sarah Nguyen had recommended. During those quiet sessions, I finally faced the pain of being rejected by my family. "They didn't choose me," I said one afternoon, my voice trembling. "They chose their image." The therapist nodded gently. "But you're choosing yourself now, Emily. That's strength." Week by week, I learned to let go of the hurt, piece by piece, like debugging faulty lines of code in a program. Maya and Jamal became the family I never had. Our late-night pizza dinners, the endless debates about code, the laughter over the smallest things, those moments helped me find joy again. I opened my journal one evening and typed, "I don't need their approval anymore. I have Maya, Jamal, and myself. I am enough." The words were simple, but they became my light through the darkness. I was no longer the trembling girl outside the graduation hall. I was Emily Harper, and I was healing. 3 years later, I stood on the stage at MIT's commencement ceremony, the stage lights glowing against my navy blue gown. The auditorium was full, but my focus was on my speech. "Self-worth doesn't come from others," I said. "It comes from choosing to stand up, even when the world wants you to fall." The audience erupted in applause, and I smiled, feeling the strength of my journey in every breath. Today, I'm the co-founder of New Dawn, a nonprofit organization supporting young people who've been abandoned or disowned by their families. We host workshops on legal rights and technology skills, helping them rebuild their futures the way I rebuilt mine. New Dawn isn't just my work, it's my purpose. As I stepped down from the stage, Maya and Jamal were waiting in the wings, pulling me into a tight embrace. "You're a star, Emily." Maya cheered, her eyes sparkling. Jamal grinned. "Mitt's never seen anyone like you." I looked out into the audience, and in a shadowed corner, I saw them, my father, my mother, and Liam. They stood there silently, not clapping. My father looked older, my mother avoided my eyes, and Liam kept his head bowed. A small part of me remembered the old days, but I didn't walk toward them. They had chosen their path, and I had chosen mine. After the ceremony, an investor from Soundwave, where I now worked as a full-time engineer, approached me with an offer to fund New Dawn. I accepted, knowing our work would help hundreds of young people find their own light. Maya took my hand, Jamal clapped my shoulder, and together we stepped outside into the bright Cambridge Sunday. I was no longer the girl cast out into the rain of Seattle. I was Emily Harper, free, strong, and full of hope. The story of Emily Harper is proof that you don't need anyone's approval to know your worth. Even after being betrayed, framed, and cast aside by her family, Emily chose to rise, using truth and talent to reclaim her name. Her journey teaches us that adversity doesn't define who you are, how you face it does. When the world turns its back, you can still find strength within yourself, and in the friends who believe in you, people like Maya and Jamal, who see the light in you even when you can't. Learn to let go of toxic ties, even if they're bound by blood, and build a family from those who lift you higher. Truth can hurt, but it can also set you free. Like Emily, dare to face the pain, turn it into purpose, and write your own story. You deserve to live as your truest self, free, whole, and filled with hope. Keep walking forward, even if the path ahead is lit only by the light you've built within. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next story.